Well, here I am. I am coming to you from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, because I've come down here to spend a week with my daughter and her family. And so I've decided that I will still do the Connect to Soul, Prosperity, and Soul Wisdom reading and teaching. Yes, so I'm in my room and I am having a lovely time. I've just been here now for 2 days and it's been just beautiful. It's been actually quite cool because it gets quite warm here in Kuala Lumpur and it's been raining. So this morning we went off to the bird park, which was a joy, and so now I've got a few minutes and I thought I would do usual weekly prosperity reading for November the 6th is tomorrow, I think. Yes. So look, just as you know, if you want to work with me or anything that you want to know about the work that I do, the links are all below. And so if you hear some strange noises, I have two beautiful grandchildren upstairs and sometimes they get a little bit loud, although we're having a bit of a quiet time in the afternoon. So hopefully you can hear me. I'm trying not to speak too loud because the sound carries a fair bit. So here, let's get started and see what we have to learn about prosperity. I have to say to you that in the last, ever since I've started doing these readings and I've focused on prosperity more, amazing things have turned up in my life, and this, again, time and time again, it proves to me that how this mechanism, this human, being that we are, how we can work it, is what you focus on. You bring about more of it. So let's have a look. Of course, I am going to use these lovely things. That funny little sound is because apparently there is some mail coming in. So if you hear strange noises that you don't usually hear, it's because I'm not in my own environment. And I'm not actually doing this on my, I'm doing it on my laptop here in KL. So, okay, let's get to it, shall we? This lovely deck of Esther Hicks, Money and the Law of Attraction. And so let's see what we're going to talk about today. And yeah, look, I hope you have a fantastic week. I'll be spending this week in Kuala Lumpur and spending it with my daughter and her husband and grandchildren. And that is just fantastic. I shall be heading home again on Saturday. So the next reading I will be doing. Which one would you want to come out? Which one of you wants me? Okay, well, I think it's this one. Right, so it says the physical me is materialized spirit. Wow. That is, I work on myself every day, and there's a spiritual ritual that or an inner ritual that I do every morning, and this is something that actually I've been focusing on quite a lot. The physical me is materialized spirit. In other words, who this is it's an expression of what I call the field of consciousness in form and being me. So let's have a look what the card says. So you can have a look at it here, right? I do love these cards. They have such a lovely feel, because I work with energy, I work with feel. Things have to feel right for me, but not the kind of feeling that you're talking about, not the touch feeling, but for me it's a sixth sense feeling. It's a sentient thing. So let's see what Esther has written here. Some say that you should not want money at all because the desire for money is materialistic and not spiritual. I don't quite believe in that, mind you. So let's see what she said. But we want you to remember that you are here in this very physical world where spirit has materialized. Because we have materialized here, everything that is material is meant to be ours and at our fingertips, right? You cannot separate yourself from the aspect of yourself that is spiritual. No. And while you're here in these bodies, you cannot separate yourself from that which is physical or material. You know, we all come from one energy soup. So everything that as humans that we have somehow expanded into is available to us and is there for us to use to the best of our ability and for the purpose of expansion of ourselves, because after all that's the only reason we're here, is for expansion of understanding, expansion of awareness, expansion of consciousness. So and then it says here, all of the magnificent things of the physical nature that are surrounding you are spiritual in nature. You know, we tend to separate everything. Humans are very good at that. Do you not think so? We're very good at separating it, at comparing. You're over here and you're over here. And because we look different, we are different, but we're not. You know, we come from the same soil, we come from the same energy source. And so we all, at the core of us, we are pure energy. And each and every one on this planet is an expression of that energy differently. It's no different to going in a garden and looking at all the different flowers and plants and seeing the different leaves and they're all expressions of source. Yes? So how amazing is that when you really understand how that all works? Yes? And for me, that is just so powerful that we understand. I think that is probably one of the greatest missions that I certainly have had for me, is to bring the spiritual awareness, the spiritual consciousness of myself and the material consciousness of the outside world and bring them together as one and not see them as separate. I see the outside world as a total reflection of what I've been radiating out. Now, once upon a time, that wasn't very comfortable because what I was then radiating out was not that great because I didn't know any better. And so I radiated a lot of fear, about anxiety, about fair bit of control, wanting to, thinking that if I could control everything, I would be safe. So I spent quite a bit of time in that same conditioned space of separation from others, of not being part of everything. But today I don't feel that. I had a really interesting experience flying from Melbourne to Kuala Lumpur, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to sit in here and stare out the window. And so I did, and I played a little game with myself. And that little game was that I tuned into the clouds outside and just the space of that we were flying through, and these beautiful clouds. And I had a mantra which says, I am one with the clouds, I am one with space, I am one with this plane. And so I slowly but surely started to actually not just feel like I was sitting in something that was flying. I actually felt that I was flying. I could feel myself in that motion going through that space and becoming one with those clouds. And the more that I tuned out of the physical and into being one with all of that, the more sort of, I suppose, spaced out in a way I felt. And I had this great sense of freedom where I was just floating through the air. And I think it's for us, we do need to do, this is one of the reasons we do need to do meditation things, because it is to stop that separation, that real division between them and us, this and that, right and wrong, up and down. I know we live in a paradoxical universe, but at the end of the day, we are all, we're all finding difficulty with words these days. I have such an expanded awareness, and to put words to it sometimes it's really difficult. But when I look at humanity and I see all the different expressions of humanity and how amazing that is, and then I tune inside, and the more inside that I tune, and the more the more comfortable that one I become with the essence of my inner self, the more I love my outer self, the more I take care of my vehicle, and the more that I tune into life itself as a beautiful expression of everything. I think when we stop having these divisions and these separations, and we realize that everything outside is really a reflection of what we're radiating, we then start taking control of what we're radiating, because that's under our control. And then you start to actually see the reflections of that in the outside world, and it's absolutely magical. So I'm just being drawn back to this again. And I want to read it again because, it's powerful stuff. Some say that you should not want money at all because the desire for money is materialistic and not spiritual. But you see, there is nothing spiritual about poverty. I'm going to say that again. There is nothing spiritual about poverty. This universe is an infinite universe. There are no limits. The limits are only in the human mind. That's the only place that there are limits. The universe itself is limitless. It has a never-ending supply available. And when we cut ourselves off from that because we see it as something separate, and we see ourselves purely as physical, and we have to work hard at getting everything, and we are in competition with each other, and one's better than the other, and your God's better than my God, and you have more money than I've got. When we do this game, of better than and less than, we separate ourselves from understanding and feeling and experiencing who we truly are and what this universe is truly all about. So the more that we can actually get aligned with it, and I love money. I think the saddest thing is that everybody just takes out a piece of plastic. I think money's fantastic. I think, I can't reach my wallet here, but at the moment I'm into ringgit, okay, which is the Malaysian currency. And look, the Australian dollar sits quite well with the Malaysian currency, so it's easy. The money goes a bit further. But at the end of the day, it's just energy of exchange. I give you some of this and you give me something else. And that's what this whole universe is about. It's a continuous energy exchange. And using money is a great thing. And the other thing is, we all want to be contributors in this world, and we all want to do things for other people, and we do kindnesses for other people. Well, you can't give what you don't have. So if you don't have any money, then you are struggling in survival. When you're in survival, you separate yourself from what you truly are and what's possible for you. And so the more you separate yourself from that, the tougher your life becomes. So the more that we can understand that spirituality and the material world and money are all the same thing. They all come from the same energy source. It's what we do in our mind with it that makes the difference. It's the stories we run about all of that, which is reflected in our outer experience. So I would like you to just perhaps this week spend some time and look at your outer experience where money is concerned, and where your relationship with money is concerned, and where your relationship with prosperity in your life is concerned. Do you feel deserving of it? Do you feel, and even for me, that's a ridiculous term. Why do we need to deserve it? We are one with Source. We are an expression of the all that is. We don't have to do anything to deserve anything. We just need to get aligned with it, right? We need to get aligned with it. So it means that we have to raise our vibrations, and we have to learn to trust and believe, and we have to learn how all this works. And if you're intrigued with how all of this works, this is what my Inspired Manifestation Masterclasses are all about. It is what all my teaching is all about, and it's becoming more and more, involved in that, because I've been doing this for 30 years, and as I grow, so I teach. So my retreat, the next retreat, is going to be really so much, again, expanded to the last retreat I ran, and this seems to happen all the time, and it makes me really excited. So all the work that I do is a continuous expansion of myself and my understanding and my learning. So again, really understand that the physical you is materialized spirit. The physical you is an end product of a spark of consciousness that has decided to come here for the purpose of expansion. Now that's a big mouthful, but when you really get that, you stop worrying about life. You just learn to love it and live it. It's absolutely wonderful. Wonderful. So that's what I'm going to be finishing with here. And so I really do want to have some soul wisdom. Well, when I say I want some soul wisdom, I do, every day I think I spend more and more time in soul wisdom. What is soul wisdom? Soul wisdom is tuning into the infinite awareness, the infinite consciousness, and allowing it to speak through you, to you and through you. And that's really what this is about. So let's go to these cards, which are these beautiful Keepers of the Light. Yes, I did put them in a suitcase and I did bring them. So here they are. So let's just have a quick shuffle and see what's going on, shall we? Whoops, something's happened. Well, that's a hell of a lot of them coming out, but I don't really want them all. No, they're wanting to talk. They're wanting to talk. The Keepers of the Light have something to say. So guys, please, one. Okay, something really special from me to you over here in Kuala Lumpur. My daughter has lived here for a long time now, and this is my 4th visit since November last year. And and I have 2 beautiful grandchildren here. So what is really special for me is that I've been able to continue to have a really close relationship with them, and they really love it when Oma turns up. So what I've just, the card that I've just picked up is Master Jesus. And what it says is forgiveness, which is interesting for me because I have got myself to a place where I don't believe forgiveness is necessary, in that I believe that forgiveness only comes from a place of judgment, of knowing if you're judging something you've done is wrong, you need forgiveness. Of course, if you actually harm someone, of course you need forgiveness. But I mean, really, in the big picture, forgiveness is only necessary if you play a story in your mind which puts you wrong. For me, it's not an issue that I spend a great deal of time with, but I have a feeling that there is something here that we need to actually discuss. So it says here, you are on the path of light, love and forgiveness. Father, healing is possible at this time. So what does Father mean? I find that really interesting because, to me, religious material is tainted with limitations, and so I don't go down there at all. Jesus to me is an ascended master. For me, what he means is that he was an Orthodox Jewish prophet who had the ability to tune in, and I believe he came aware. He was certainly schooled by his mother's family, the Essenes, who are incredibly consciously aware sector of the Jewish community, and this is where he learned all his miracle making, and where he learned his alignment with Source. Well, at that time he called Source Father, okay, because it was like the universe is this parent, and all of us are its children, which is in a way is true, because I talk about we're all electrical appliances, okay, which is probably, it's like saying that the power house where the power comes from for our electricity, etc., is the Father, because it's giving us the energy. Okay, Father, Mother. And so I believe that Jeshua ben Joseph was trained, and he learned very quickly, and that was his destiny. He was aligned to that, tuned into that. He came here to teach humanity who they really are. The problem with that is that people find it very difficult to take such big responsibility when they really know who they are. There is nowhere to hide. And so what they did instead is made him, deified him, and said, well, you know, you do it for us. And that is still going on today in the Christian society. They think that Jesus got to do it for them. Well, you know what? It's all up to you, in my book. Whatever you want to believe, of course. If it feels right for you, then believe it. But remember that a belief is only a fact while you believe it. And so we're here to keep expanding our consciousness and expanding our awareness. So what does it mean in conjunction with what we just talked about with the materialized spirit? I think what it means, you know, because it's the first sentence in that first card. Some say that you should not want money. And I think this has to do with that. I think that what it talks about is that we feel guilty, particularly spiritual people. They feel guilty if they ask for money. I've seen it so much. You know, oh no, we're also spiritual, we're not supposed to need money. Well, I need money. Because you know what? My grocer needs money when I go and ask him for my food. So it is really something we need to forgive ourselves for feeling guilty for wanting money. We need to forgive ourselves for having this part of us that keeps asking to be abundant and prosperous. But you see, the reason there is a part of us that is asking for us to be prosperous and abundant all the time is because our essence is abundant and prosperous. It doesn't know limitation. It doesn't have a clue about having no limits. So that part of us is constantly wanting to be expressed and constantly want to say, you know what, this is not how we're supposed to be. This is not who we're supposed to be. So please forgive yourself for wanting money and prosperity and well-being and wealth, because it's your natural state in actual fact. I think that goes very well with that. Yes, absolutely. Love Jeshua ben Joseph. He is very special ascended master in my understanding. And something that I've learned to do over the years is that I put things in a place that feels aligned with me and that feels good within me. I remove resistance. So, you know, that's really the story. Well, really, that's it from me today. It's been fun, and I'm sitting here in my room very quietly talking to you guys while the family is upstairs, and I'm just delighted that I was able to still connect with you, and I will see those of you in Australia as soon as I get home at the end of the week. And I just want to remind you that Spiritual Book Club is on Monday the 13th in Frankston in Australia, and I'll look forward to seeing people then. Now, the other thing I just very quickly want to mention before I go is that the next Inspired Manifestation Masterclass, which helps you to really tune so much more into your conscious awareness, starts on the 31st of January. I only take 12 people maximum, so if you would like to partake in a 10-week program, if you live locally, then please let me know. Wow, okay, so here I will sign off from Kuala Lumpur, and yeah, a bit of a jet setter, but it's very nice. I shall see you next time when I'm back home in Melbourne, Australia. So, namaste. Be kind to you. Be kind to everything that you desire. Be kind to life. It is such an amazing experience. So, see you in Australia next time. Love you. Love yourself.